A visit to the Home Affairs office is often a nightmare for many people. The reasons often differ, from having to stand in the queue for hours on end to the service being offline. It's been even more difficult under lockdown as many services have been suspended or curtailed. This morning, our team, eNCA news teams, are across the country to give us live updates from various offices. In Johannesburg, we have Aviwe Mtila. Monique Mortlock is in Cape Town, and Dasen Thathiah joins us now from Durban. They'll bring us, they're trying to determine how fast or how slow things are being done at those offices. Let's start with you, Aviwe. You are in the Johannesburg CBD now. What have you seen this morning?
Well, I tell you what, Bratulas, it's different. It's definitely a different picture that you'd ordinarily see here. In fact, it's running like a well-oiled machine. I'm going to ask my colleague Ditiro just to show you around where even the ID passports and applications happen, where there hasn't been a glitch in sight. The Johannesburg CBD is, of course, notorious for the queues and just the offline, the systems being offline. But it's quite running smoothly, and everything is happening speedily here. A situation that you'd see if you were to go to the Randburg CBD, where I'm from this moment. There wasn't even a glitch inside. Systems were all go. But this also prompted me to ask around, ask even some of the staff members on the ground as to exactly maybe what's happening. They told me that there were upgrades that happened over the weekend. You'd remember that eNCA has notified even the Randburg Home Affairs that would be at the Home Affairs Department offices trying to get myself also my smart card in place. So they were alerted of eNCA's presence, and it seems like everything is running smoothly, Bratulas, something that we'd hope will continue at the various departments of Home Affairs.
Imagine a situation where a visit by a media house prompts people to do the job that they're supposed to do for citizens on a daily basis, such that services improve miraculously when there's a media house that's visiting. So, Aviwe, I'll come back to you in a moment to talk about your conversation with the Deputy Director General at the Home Affairs Department. But I want to bring in Dasen Thathiah. You've been standing in queues, Dasen. It seems that your experience is rather different from Aviwe's experience at the two offices that he has visited.
Tulas, I think we should be telling our viewers that you were taking the mickey out of us a little while ago for not acting. I
was reserving that for the end, but go ahead. Yes.
That I'm carrying here.
Dasen, we are battling with your line. We will have to come back to you a bit later on. That's Dasen Thathiah there. Let's listen, though, to conversations that Dasen Thathiah had earlier on with people that he encountered in the queue where he's been standing at those offices in Durban.
Actually, today I woke up at 4 o'clock, so I got here maybe at 5:30 or something like that. Yes.
Okay. What are you here for?
I'm here for my ID. I came the last time, and it wasn't a good experience actually, because I had to go home and the machines were offline all day. So it was like I had to come. I had to go to another Home Affairs actually, and it's the same. It's worse in Stenga actually. In Stenga. It's very worse.
Let me take you to eNCA's Monique Mortlock out in Cape Town. Monique, any movement in the queues in Bellville?
Well, there has been some movement, finally, although I'm still standing all the way at the back. Not at the back, but sort of at the back. Luckily, there are people holding my spot for me. We've been here for nearly 6 hours, and the problem at the Bellville branch has been that cameras were stolen over the weekend on Saturday, and today those cameras had to be installed and set up. So for several hours, the line wasn't moving at all. They were only allowing people who didn't need to make use of those camera facilities, like your marriage license officers and under undertakers. They were allowing them to go inside. When we arrived here at about 5:35 this morning, the same people who we saw this morning, they have only just been able to go inside. And when I spoke to some of the people earlier, one woman said she's here with her son who's in matric. He obviously needs his ID to be able to write his exams later this year. She said she had taken off from work just for today, and she really needs to get that ID process done for him. And she said if she wasn't able to sort it out today, she wouldn't be able to take off from work again. So she was quite upset. She's one of dozens of people in the queue that have been waiting since after 5 this morning, and now it seems that the line is moving. They've been able to get one camera working.
But wait, Monique, weren't you number 21 when I woke up this morning? When I woke up this morning, I checked on the WhatsApp chat group that we have. You were number 21. Surely 21 is not a lot. How come you've not been able to apply for that all-important smart ID?
No. Unfortunately not. When I arrived here, there were some people in the line, and I thought, let me first do my crossing and then I'll join the queue. Thinking, okay, we were here early, it's going to go quite quickly, but then the whole camera situation messed up that plan. Hopefully I'll get in within the next hour or two, because it seems as if they are at least letting a few people in. And Tulas, just so that you can't judge me anymore, because why do I still have a green bookie? It's exactly for this reason, because I don't like lines.
Don't preempt me. We're coming to that, okay, Monique? Pause there for a moment, because all three of you are in the same boat. One wonders if it's like that in Bellville. I mean, think about what it's like in towns like Standerton in Mpumalanga, I don't know, Utrecht in KwaZulu-Natal, if problems with camera systems can delay things that much in Bellville. Let me take it back to Aviwe Mtila, though. Aviwe, you had a conversation with the Deputy Director General at Home Affairs. What did you talk about? What did he have to say?
So, Batulas, we spoke about the total contrast that we are seeing both in the Johannesburg CBD as well as the Home Affairs in Randburg, where the systems, you hear complaints about the systems being offline. You just have to go on Twitter, hashtag Home Affairs. You'll hear the complaints of various Home Affairs officers being offline for days on end. Even a gentleman that I spoke to while we were waiting from 5:41 had a conversation with a gentleman. He says that he was at the Randburg CBD, the Randburg Home Affairs, for the third day, third working day in a row, where he's been told the previous 2 days that the system was offline. He'd get there at 5 o'clock in the morning, only to be told that the system was offline. So I brought this up with the DDG of Home Affairs after an interview I had with the SITA CEO. The SITA CEO telling me that it only takes about an hour to fix those glitches in the system and having things run. But the question was, why then are these various offices being shut down for the entire day? And let's listen to what the DDG had to say.
Factors that are at play here. One of the issues, obviously, we've talked about is the issue of network connectivity. But also remember, there are some isolated incidents that affect a specific office. The office, for example, that you are in is connected through a copper line. So you have a challenge sometimes of copper theft, but also you have other offices that are connected through fiber, microwave, and other LTE routers. So that's just one of the issues that when you talk about isolated office incidents. Then when you come to national outage, I think he has spoken about issues relating to power, for an example. Last week there was an outage of power at Citizen Children that affected the whole area during load shedding. So the generator came on, and then apparently it lost fuel. Then thereafter there were disks that were affected in our system. There's something called an enterprise service bus, which
we were told all of that takes about an hour to sort out, but we're hearing complaints that it goes on for days, where people are turned around because the systems are offline at Home Affairs.
That is why I'm saying to you, there's multiple services. The issue regarding turnaround time with SETA, it could be in some instances that it takes shorter for network to be restored, but in most cases, like as we have said, that last week the generator caused the damage to the disk in the system, so we had to get IBM to come and help us to be able to resolve that. So that's just one of the issues that we are faced with, to say where we have no control, because we need to get the network provision out of SETA. So if there are problems in relation to SETA, then it's difficult for us to be able to bring the services up on time. But also remember, other than the network, the application itself, as I'm explaining, that the disk was damaged in the system, so we had to get IBS software specialists to come on site to be able to do that. I must say that we've been improving, obviously, the services in terms of ensuring the effectiveness of our system. Remember, in a year we issue about 3 million smart cards, about 1 million passports. So if you look at those statistics, it will tell you that work is happening, even though there are glitches in some of the areas, but the stats will not lie in terms of what we are able to provide on an annual basis.
So, I mean, you can hear the ripple effect. Even load shedding comes into the picture. Generators not kicking in, and I believe the DDG there said at the SETA, state IT agency, and so on and so on. So many things can add to the frustration. So, guys, lastly, you've been preempting me and trying to preempt here. 3 million smart cards are issued by the Department of Home Affairs yearly. None of them issued to the three of you. It's a pity we don't have Dasen Thathiah anymore. I judge people, especially young people like yourselves, who still walk around with a pass. Monique, showcase your green ID. Show me your pass.
I'm not going to show you the picture, but this is my bookie. It reminds me of the good old days when I was young and carefree.
Aviwe, quickly show me yours.
I'll show you
I
this
cannot believe this.
And once only. Remember, I got this when I was only
guys,
17 years old. I don't even have dreadlocks here.
Well, go back to the queues, guys. Let's sort out this situation. Totally unacceptable. Aviwe Mtila and Monique Mortlock with a special focus on the Department of Home Affairs. They're in the queues, so maybe soon they'll have smart IDs.